Welcome, Virgo, to your 2021 annual reading and yearly forecast. Great to see you. Of course, I do very in-depth monthly readings, which as a subscriber you get to receive directly, otherwise have a look at the playlist. I'm going to draw 4 cards now, one for each quarter of the year. And they'll be filled out during the year with the monthly readings. But let's see what there is now. And if you want to find out more about what I do, just check out the description box. Now let's have a look here. I am going to see what this one is. That is the Two of Cups, Virgo. The Two of Cups. Something from in the middle, shall we? There is Death. What an awfully good card that is. Number 13, do you know that there are a few tarot readers in the past, in centuries gone by, used to just refer to it as card number 13. They didn't refer to it as death, having some superstitious association with the word death. It actually has a tremendous creative reading for you, particularly next to this Two of Cups, but I won't give anything away. I'll get to that in just a second. There is the Tower. Well, we shall see what there is in store there. And finally, what's this one? The Queen of Cups. Virgo, why don't you come and sit down next to me? Let's have a good close look at these cards together while I do the reading for you to find out what's in store in 2021. Okay, by the way, I'm not using these playing cards for the reading. I just like the energy that comes up with them. Now, to recall, 4 quarters, January through March, April through June, July through September, October through to the end of December. Let's have a look at this one first. Well, it doesn't really get any better than this, does it? Here we have the Lord of Love. Now I'll point out some of the imagery that's in this card. The Two of Cups, well, lotus, a lotus floats on a green sea, and 2 dolphins are entwined around the stem. Water originates from the lotus and off the heads of the dolphin. What can we say then here? It is Venus ruling Cancer, and both these signs, Venus and Cancer, are it's the first decan of Cancer, I'd say, that first 10 degrees. So what we notice about here is that in this card, the astrological signs are both exalted above the horizon, rather than maybe one on top and one on the bottom, which happens in a lot of the cards in this deck. Now, the exaltation of both signs is indicative of the benefit of drawing this card with the planet Venus, really, which is the planet of love and beauty and relationship, well placed in the most receptive of signs, being that of Cancer, a sign of symbolizing nurturing, comforting, supporting, and healing. And Venus, of course, is that planet of love and beauty, of creativity. Now let's have a look at some of the things here. Now there's an eye on this dolphin, which has a yellow eye, which is symbolic of the sun. Its fin comes into 5 points, the 5 representing the masculine force. It's the 5th trump card, which is the Emperor. The right dolphin has a silver eye, and it is therefore representative of the moon, and its fin come to 4 points. The 4 points representing the feminine force, and the 4th card in the major arcana being the Empress. Now, the lotus nourishes itself through the dolphins, which is talking about access to love, especially universal love, and providing great nourishment of the soul. Now, there are 10 streams here, 2 emanating from the 2 lower cups, indicating for me mystically 10, which is the sign of, for me, a number which represents the universe, material matter, out of which emerged from which it emerged from spirit. The green sea is for me creative love. The yellow sea represents inspirational and spiritual love. And the blue sky above is clear of any negativity or distractions. So I think what's likely around this point is that there is going to be talk of marriage, the beginning of harmonious relationships, well-matched people involved in things. Now, it doesn't need to be just romantic relationships. It can be family relationships, it can be friendships, it can also be business relationships between seller and customer, because it's also talking to me of close friendships and partnerships. You'll be able to access universal love. It's also talking to me of a love that is both special and equal. You are able to both express and receive love in equal measure. And if it's asking about any meditation that you may be doing, it reminds you that you have a connection with inner spirit, and its main quality is universal love, and enlightenment, of course, is a total saturation in love. Now let's have a look next. The next quarter is here, the child of the great transformers, the Lord of the Gate of Death. It is, of course, Major Arcana 13, the card of death itself. Now let's have a look at I'll just point out some of the imagery that's here just on this card, because it's a particularly interesting card, I think. There's a lot of, what I really get here is Scorpio ruled by Mars. So Mars ruling Scorpio with Pluto exalted. And you'll see why that's the case as I go through this imagery, I think, here. First of all, there are the three forms of Scorpio. There is the scorpion itself, the hard shell, which is talking about, which could be the solid form of water. Scorpio is a water sign. So there's the hard form of water. It then evolves into the undulating snake. That's the second form of Scorpio, and that can be thought of as liquid water. And finally, it is exalted, where the person goes past this life and into the next realm. The exalted form of Scorpio, which is the eagle, which can be seen of as being air, or the airy part of water, which is steam or vapor or something like that. Now, there are two things down here. This Scorpio is between a lotus and a lily. The lily is the alpha, the lotus is the omega. These are both references to Saturn. Saturn, which is about time and about change. And so the beginning of Scorpion here is in the middle of time. This black figure, incidentally, is about, black is the color of Saturn. And I notice what he's doing is he's holding a scythe here, and that's often a signal associated with Saturn as well. The figure is dancing. This is the figure of death. Now, I'm assuming that this is the figure of Osiris. Osiris was a god who was the god of the underworld, who went and died himself in water. His body not recovered, so that's why his skeleton would be underwater. What's important, though, is that this card is also talking about, although it's talking about death, it's talking about regeneration and renewal. And we can see this in this way. Here we have the masculine snake entwined with the feminine fish. The fish also has an association with Pisces, which is the last sign of the zodiac. But here the feminine fish and the masculine snake are entwined together and producing new life. And they sit behind this point here, which if you look at this black netting coming up like that from the groin of the skeleton, now that looks like a phallus, doesn't it? And that phallus is something which demonstrates life. There are a bunch of bubbles in here. One might see this as having been produced by the phallus, because inside these bubbles, or little things, are men, women, and children. The skeleton cuts through the black netting and lets the person through into the great new life. So something is being cut away in order that something better can be done. And all throughout there is a symbol of time and about ending, but also then of renewal and regeneration. Gee, quite interesting that, isn't it? That sort of symbology. Now let me have a think here. I think what this is saying here really is that, well, Mars here is really in its, I say it's Mars ruling Scorpio, but it's that fiery planet of Mars, but in its lowest form, which is necessary to provide the impulse for change and renewal, is what I see. There is something in your life during this time which is going to be, well, dying, for want of a better word, or disintegrating or dissolving. Whether it be a structure you have created, a pattern of behavior, or a pattern of thought, or a habit, or a way of thinking about yourself or the world around you. And this is necessary for new beginnings and transformation in your life. It's a period, I think, of great transformation. And it's something which you may think, oh, I'm a little bit fearful of transformation. But remember this, the darkest hour is just before the dawn. And in order to grow and abandon the old, death is your protection against stagnation. You are, in a way, being forced, I think, at this time to leave behind something which you have outgrown. It's a time of major transformation, cutting through to the core or analyzing things. You are now ready, I think, to make the necessary changes in your life and accept any pain that may come with the loss of the old. And what outdated relationships or situations are you dealing with? And say to yourself at that time that I let go of people and situations with ease and dignity. Every ending heralds the new beginning. Yeah. Detachment makes me calm. Now, it can also be said that this doesn't necessarily have to be a major upheaval, but it could be something, for example, like moving to a house that you enjoy, like moving aside from one place and going to another. It could be changing the way you look. Now, the ladies often like to change their hairstyles and things, or hair color, and by doing so, they become like a new person, or take on a new fashion sense or something like that. Some of the men out there do that as well. For me, a big fashion sense change is to get a new toothbrush or something like that. I'm not really a fashion guy myself. But it's something which is going to be a change. There's going to be an old and a new. The old is going to be left behind, and then there is the new. And this is kind of being reinforced by this card here, I have to say. Absolutely. Let's have a look at it. This is the Tower, or what I call the Lord of the Hosts of the Mighty. Now, there's also interesting imagery in this, which we might just briefly have a quick look at, shall we? What do you say is this? Well, this is the Eye of Shiva, and the Eye of Shiva is the third part of the Hindu Trinity: Brahman, Vishnu, Shiva. Shiva is about destruction and renewal, destruction and regeneration. And I'm reminded also, I think it's in the Christian Bibles, I think it was the Gospel of Matthew 13:10, where the Christ figure says, he says he comes with a sword. And a lot of it is, what they're about, of course, is not about physical destruction, about physical upheaval, but they're about the renewal of the spirit. It's about recognizing that we are, in fact, spirit that's in life, and to raise ourselves up and to have more of a spiritual awareness. But having said that, here is a dove, the dove of peace. It's the feminine aspect of love. This serpent here is male. It's the male aspect of love. Now, this is an old mythological creature, the details of which I won't go into, brandishing out fire in here, or the lightning, if you like, which is bringing down the fire. And these people, on one hand, falling from the tower, but on another hand, really escaping from the tower is how I look at it. Yeah, I really have to say that. I think that this is really talking about the limitations of your ego, that part of your consciousness which is trapped in form, the structure of your identity, which you've built up over your life. and where you may consider yourself, I am the sum of the people I have met, the experiences I have had, the school I went to, how much money my parents had, how much money I make, what type of job I do, what color am I, where was I born. That's what defines me. Well, of course it doesn't. Because if you take all those things away, there's somebody there. And even if you take away the body, there's somebody there, and that's who you are. So this is about bringing down and breaking down that structure of identity that you've built up. It's inner transformation. Healing is also the case. Healing from wounds in the past. And the old, just as it was in this card before, so it's quite a period here for you, is destroyed. But it's not something which is dangerous, and it's not something which is fearful. It's something which you should embrace and look forward to, that you're going to be getting rid of stuff which is no longer serving you. You're making room for new things. There's a release. There's a revelation. There's a breaking down of old forms. There is a calm after the storm, is what this is talking about to me. Now, sometimes things can happen which give rise to issues and emotions to do with that, but look outside and look at yourself as if you are in a movie. You will be in the midst of, or you're about to go into, an extremely intensive transformatory process. Whatever is destroyed or shaken within you serves to purify you and make room for something new. Allow it. And ask yourself, are you really ready to view yourself and life with new eyes? Observe yourself in your daily life now, before this time comes. Situations may seem to repeat themselves, but you will not continue to repeat old, limited, restrictive behavior patterns. Everything that happens in your life is for the best. Say to yourself, who I am is a belief to be undone. I have the ability to heal and restore myself at all times. I am not inside my body. My body is inside of me. Let us go to the final card for you for the year, which is the Queen of Cups. The Rose of the Palace of the Sea. Here we are. Well, a lot of Gemini and a lot of Cancer around here is what I see. Now, here we have, if we just look at this great big thing here. Well, that thing is the moon. And the curves of light that come down act as the veil for the Queen herself. Now, you might be able to, I don't even know if you can see her head. This is where it is here. She's very, very almost hidden by this veil of this moonlight. And there's an interesting aspect to that. Now have a look at this shell which is in her left hand. That's a receptive vessel for water. She's in a suit of water. And it means also that she is associated with creativity, with gestation, with birth. Now the fish inside the shell is standing on its tail, making a sign of Neptune's fork. Neptune is a planet which is associated with inspiration, but also with delusion. Neptune was the god of the seas. Neptune is also thought to rule the pineal gland, which is associated with third eye activation. Water is symbolic of deeper emotions and dreams, so the Queen of Cups takes on some of the qualities of the planet Neptune. Dreams, intuition, psychic ability, I think you'll have, invention, perception, and interest in the occult, imagination, mysticism, emotion, exploring your shadow side. Now there's the reflections this is the water here in the lake, and you can see how everything is reflected in the in the lake. This is because she accurately expresses outwardly her inner realizations. She is a channel for intuition. The lake itself is calm because she is calm and self-assured, and she doesn't need to assert herself aggressively. The white lotus that's in her hand has 9 petals, which is associated for me with the moon. And the 2 white lotus on the lake, they're symbolic of Gemini. And I think Gemini is going to be important to you as well during the period here. I think what we can say about her is that she's very influenced by her environment, and she could have been in a relationship which ruined her financially or emotionally. Being attracted to the wrong person and taking on their energy would have a disastrous effect on her life. And she may be carrying scars from that time into the present. So she may not be necessarily reflecting her purity as best that she can do. But there is a richness to the friendships and people that she touches, as she has many insights and much love to give. She also gains a lot of practical skills from Mercury, I think, and the ability of clear thought and speech. The other thing is that it's interesting that she should appear diagonally connected with this card here, because this card is completely part of her makeup. Lots of love, lots of harmony and nurturing. Love is a complete acceptance of something in its highest sense, and she displays this outwardly and inwardly. She has an acceptance of all things and can thus merge to be one with them. As is sort of illustrated, I think, by the fact that she has merged into this moonlight here. The only thing I'd say in closing in relation to this is that she's somebody, because she, at this time, be aware that you could really be influenced by your environment, and in particular by the people around you in your environment. And so it's very important. You know, as your mother always said, you are judged by the company that you keep. Well, this is a time to bear your mother's advice to heart, because other people's thoughts and actions are going to mold into you and become a part of you. So make sure you don't have any negative situations or any people who are downward, bringers of people down and bringing down, or you'll travel down with them. So surround yourself in good surroundings. Make sure you get out and do things that you enjoy. Breathe plenty of fresh air and surround yourself with happy, positive people. That's the way it is for you this year. Well, there you go, 2021 in a snapshot. It's been great fun doing that reading for you, and I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I did providing it to you. Now, I look forward to seeing you in the monthly readings, okay? But until then, just remember one thing always, and it is this, that you are a legend. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, it's bye for now.